Grant and Brad's Ghastly Gab.
Welcome to Grant and Brad's Ghastly Gab. I said it right for the first time ever, I think. I'm Grant.
I'm Brad.
And we are social distancing the fuck out of this podcast this time.
Disting?
You know I can't say everything right.
We are social distancing. It's weird.
Yeah.
I guess we have to talk about it a little bit, even though I don't want to kill it because everybody's fucking talking about it.
Yeah, I'm kind of... See, that's the problem, is that I think I've got to the point where I'm just sick of it. I want to go back to normal, and it's more frustrating just like not being able to do that.
Yeah. It's different time. Like there's things I'm thankful for,
Mm-hmm.
and there's the extra time with family or obviously this is showing you what's important. Things like food, shelter.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I definitely think
health.
that I think a lot of people have been humbled, and I think a lot of things are going to change coming out of this. Just because a lot of people found out like different ways of doing things. I mean, it's even crazy. Like I keep laughing about it. It's probably the same way for you. Just how many people, like, we went to the park yesterday, and it's a park we go to all the time, and we always have the park to ourselves, and now we're actually upset because there's people outside.
Right.
Even
the
though
park we went to yesterday, there was nobody there. Actually, we were like kind of happy about it.
Oh, really? I mean, even though people should be going out, it's just funny that like now everybody's going out because they're just like, I don't know what to do inside my house.
What is this park thing I keep hearing about?
Yeah, it's kind of really weird, and I'm actually really surprised. And Abby has to keep yelling at me about this one because we've been so used to cooking because of the gluten-free thing that when they keep announcing that like I'm getting 90 emails a day from various businesses, and it's just like we're essential because people need restaurants, and I'm just like, they're touching your food, they're doing all this stuff, like who knows what exactly is going on with this virus, like people can't cook for themselves, and I think that's really weird.
We went and got carry out on Saturday. Went to Buffalo Wings and Rings.
Yeah.
I guess the idea that Brandon and her mom was in town for a few days, had that. Well, we're working, so we can go ahead and support the people who maybe aren't or are struggling. So I went in there, got the food. There was like 6 orders there that you could see. It was kind of like, okay, whatever. And this dude walks in after me, and his pants were around his thighs, and he was picking up a Grubhub order, and he smelled like weed big time. And I was like, okay, so it's just me and this dude out. That's where I'm at. I'm with this guy. And so I came back, and I was like, and the food sucked.
Oh, really?
And it wasn't. Yeah, I don't think it was Wings and Rings' fault. It's just the stuff that they used to carry out the food. Like it was those like plastic containers with the black bottom and the plastic looking top.
Yeah.
And it made the food so soggy. And so we got home, and we took it all out of the stuff and washed our hands, and then we put it in the air fryer and fried it up.
Fried it up again.
Basically, there was no chance of like contaminating ourselves because we heated it up and we threw away all the cartons that it came in. But it was still just like, we used a ton of dishes. We used the air fryer, so it was a pain in the ass anyway.
Oh man, we've been running the dishwasher like almost twice a day now.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing that we're stuck on is we greatly underestimated how much soap we used, and we're almost out of soap already.
Nice.
So
I actually went to the store Wednesday morning because I was like, just in case, like I just don't want to get to a point where they're like, all right, everybody has to stay in until further notice, and then be like, because then they'd be like, you have until this date, they'll probably give you 48 hours, and I was like, everybody's gonna be at the store.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna go get as much chicken as I can, and then just some other shit just to have it. So I went, and I feel better now, but. Just better safe than sorry kind of thing. I just didn't want to think about it anymore.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how we went. We got enough food for like 2 weeks. Because, I mean, I see the grocery store is the same problem. Like, I don't want to go to the grocery store, and I do the same thing. Like, we bring it back, and, like, I'm all weird about touching the pin pad and all this stuff, and, like, I'm washing my hands, and I feel, like, it's weird. Like, I feel stupid. But it's just one of those things where, like, I think it's what you said. It's a safe than sorry. Like, I'd rather look like an idiot right now than be sick in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, chances are we're probably going to get it. Because I heard like they think 70% of us are going to get it.
Yeah.
Is it better to get it now? I don't know. Like,
because I mean that's really the only. I mean, living with a nurse, that's really the only problem is that eventually everybody will have this thing. It's just that we don't have a way to get rid of it right now, right? I mean, that's how I'm looking at it.
I mean, we could try to wait for. I mean, they think they might have some. What's it called when they
or vaccine or a cure? Or...
Vaccine. Thank you. That they might have a vaccine, but I think it'll take like 10 to 12 months to develop and go through the FDA and everything. So
because it's the same as the flu. It's like we don't worry about it because we have you get your flu shot and you're done with it.
Right.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's just such a weird time because it's kind of something you should be scared of, but then at the same time it's not, and you just don't know.
I'll tell you the weirdest thing is I'm watching 4 different movies right now because I'm watching We Are Still Here by myself.
Which I like. That's the one about the house, right?
Yeah.
Like the family moves into the house and the town kind of has a thing for the house.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. And I really like it so far, but I was like at a point where I had to go to bed the other night because I'm still working from home Monday through Wednesday, and I'm going in Thursday and Friday. So it was like kind of late, and I was getting a little scared. I was like, all right, I'm going to go head up. Well, no, not really. I was just like, this is a good time to stop, but this is freaky. So then I was watching Empire with Cameron, and we finished that tonight because Brandy works sometimes, so it was just me and Cameron watching that.
What's Empire?
And then me and Brandy, Strikes Back.
Do what?
Strikes Back.
Trace Back.
Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, Strikes Back.
Strikes. Okay. Yeah.
Well, I didn't know. Like maybe you're watching the hip hop TV show. I didn't know.
Empire Records. I mean, I suppose there's.
I was like, he usually says records, but maybe he went shorthand this time.
No, and then me and Brandy are watching Constantine, the Keanu Reeves movie.
Yeah.
And then me, Brandy, and Cameron are watching Rocky 3.
I would almost make fun of you, but right now, Abby and Maya are finishing Jurassic Park, and they started it yesterday. So I don't know what this whole like starting a movie and then ending it is, or not ending it.
It's just because bedtimes and it's just the way it goes. Like, we're like, all right, it's time to head up. Everybody's getting a little restless. Yeah. And then we come down and it's like 9:30, and by 10 we start Constantine. And it's like, shit, I'm tired. Let's go to bed. So it's, yeah.
I haven't watched anything. My schedule's been so messed up. I've tried to catch up on wrestling right now in time for WrestleMania. Which I guess is a good segue. This could be the best. I think I texted you. It could be the best or worst or both WrestleMania ever. It depends on what they really try to do with it. I guess
there's no way it's going to be the best. What's your favorite Mania?
Well, see, I thought about that question too because I have missed a lot. I've watched all of them. I've watched all of them from 14 on. 14 still holds a little, I don't know, sentimental value for me because I remember watching it with you and Jake.
Is that Stone Cold versus Bret Hart?
And no, that's Stone Cold Michaels. That's when Mike Tyson punched him.
Okay.
And that's when
13 is
Stone Cold and Bret.
Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just like 14 because that's kind of when I started like watching it, and I remember like I didn't understand the whole pay-per-view idea, so all I wanted to see was DX and versus Stone Cold and all this stuff. And I remember I couldn't watch it and I was so bummed. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to get this much money to ever watch this,
Yeah, it was $50.
Yeah, and then I think that Jake or somebody came down with the tape at your house. And we ended up, you might have watched it before. But and then kind of with that, when I started watching it again, I would almost say that 30, I still really like 30.
Daniel Bryan?
The Daniel Bryan story, yeah.
Okay.
I've tried to drunkenly watch, 15 through 29, and it's fine, but I skipped around a lot because there's a lot of stuff that I didn't care about because I didn't know the storyline.
Well, the storylines, yeah. And everything is storyline when it comes to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of those from Jake was my older brother. He's 7 years older than me. So him and his friend Marshall would come over to my house after they got off Taco Bell late at night. Sometimes Grant would be over, and that's what we would watch, old tapes, old WCW tapes. I mean, these are like 86, 87, like Night of the Skywalker stuff, all the way up in the WWE stuff, SummerSlam, Survivor Series, every night during summer. It was great. So that's where a lot of my old school wrestling knowledge comes from, along with the fact that I actually did watch it, but so, I got to see all the pay-per-views.
And you actually got to watch it with the imagination of a child, I guess.
Yeah, and they would buy them because they had money. Yeah. So I was in like 6th grade getting to see all the pay-per-views, especially during summer. So I got to see SummerSlam. Hog Wild was one that was always like stuff like that. Bash at the Beach, Great American Bash, all that stuff.
I say it sounds like that you were a WCW person.
No,
I feel like you were both. But maybe Sting swung you to one side or the other.
So I was originally a WWF guy in the early 90s, and then Sting made me start to like WCW, but WCW was a tougher find. It was on the Clash of the Champions was the cool thing then, and that was only on like once or twice a year. I'm not even 100%.
And wasn't that on like regular TV, like on TBS or something?
Yeah, it was on TBS. Yes, and then on TBS at 6:05 there was Saturday night. WCW Saturday Night is what it was called.
It was just Saturday night, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then Sunday at either 6:05 or 7:05. It was I think it was Sunday. God, I don't remember what it was called. Sunday Night Main Event, maybe.
Was that WCW?
That's WWF then.
I think that's
maybe
WWF.
It was just WCW Sunday. No, what was that called? I don't know what it was called, but it was only an hour. WCW Saturday Night was from 6:05 to 8:05. You usually got quite a bit of stuff there, but that was a chance to watch it. But it was tough to get a TV at 6:05 and be home on Saturday night at 6 as a kid. It's not like I could be like, no, Mom, we have to go home because it's Sting. So if I got to watch it, it was a treat. Yeah, Sting and Luger are gonna go at it. I don't know.
Mom, you don't get it.
Yeah, exactly.
But is it sad that you even saying the 05, like the 6:05, 7:05 brings back so many memories of being a kid?
Yeah, because TBS, that's the way it rolled.
TBS always did it, but they always had the damn Braves on.
Yeah. Yeah, and sometimes the Braves, if they had a game at during that time, WCW would get bumped.
Oh, really?
So I would actually be like home in the summertime or something like that, or spring, and I'd be all ready to watch it, and then there'd be a fucking Braves game on. Jake would be like, "Sweet, dude."
Jake's like,
I'd be sitting there crying a little bit.
Fucking Jake plops down with his popcorn backwards hat. He's happy. You're crying on the floor.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got my WCW magazine, a Sting poster out. Awesome Way Wrestling, buddy. I was ready to fucking watch some wrestling.
Mama Dixon has no idea what to do with these kids.
No. Nope. She just sent us to the basement.
All right, so I guess the way to tie this into the podcast is to talk about some horrific moments. It looks like you sent me. I was just going to go with characters, but it looks like
I didn't know we were doing horrific moments.
Well, no, I mean, I just see the subject line, and I see I see Rip Announcer's Desk. Do you want to start with that?
Yes.
Okay, because I went and looked up characters. I didn't know if you want to talk about them too or what.
I do have characters, and so I'll have you. Are you able to look things up right now?
Yeah.
I'm guessing that you are.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went with a few older dudes, and the first one that I wanted to talk about, I can't read my writing. Oh, this is okay. Is Tor Johnson? Do you know who Tor Johnson is?
I don't think so.
You will if you look him up. Look him up. Tell me what if you because he actually is in a horror movie. Ish. I don't know if you call it a horror movie.
How do you spell Tor?
Tor.
Oh, I added an extra O. There we go. Oh, okay. Yeah. He's the one that's in Plan 9, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And obviously he had a certain look. He has like an Alfred Hitchcock, King Kong Bundy. Like, I don't know. But he's in other horror movies too, as you can see if you looked him up. He's in Bride of the Monster.
The Beast of Yucca Flats.
Yes, tons of stuff. Black Sheep were probably seeing the exact same things.
So he was probably typecast pretty well.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, exactly. But he had a certain look to him. All right, the next guy to look up, and this guy's pretty famous amongst the older crowd, is Pampiro Firpo. Have you ever heard of him? No, Pampiro.
Oh.
Pampiro.
Okay.
And you can see by his pictures.
Yeah, I think I recognize him.
So he just died like a couple of weeks ago. Well, maybe a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
But he was kind of like this unruly, like he was a weirder dude. And somebody to kind of, that would always, unkempt would be a good word. Kind of crazy. Almost like the Wild Samoans ended up being in the 80s.
That's what it reminds me of.
Moondogs. I don't know if you know who the Moondogs are. I never really watched the Moondogs much. I've seen a match or two. They used to be in my wrestling magazines. I would buy. You could buy a couple different kinds of wrestling magazines when I was younger. You could buy the WCW magazine, WWF magazine, and then all the other ones.
and then all the other ones.
Yeah, they were usually like had a few color pictures, like pinups inside that you could take and pin up on the wall. Everything else was in black and white. And this is when you hear people like Jim Cornette talk about how they took photographs at the matches. These were the photographs, and you could see on the old NWA, WCW that there would be the two guys rest in the ring, or 4 guys, 6 guys, whatever the match is, and then you'd have a slew of cameramen or taking photographs outside of the ring. Upwards of 8, 9 at times, depending on the event.
Isn't that what? Is that how Cornette got started, or is that Heyman?
No, it's Cornette. Okay. It could be Heyman too.
I thought, yeah.
But Cornette started as a photographer.
Okay.
And he was young too. I think he was like 15, 16 or something like that. But so that's where I learned about the Moondogs. They were always kind of weird looking. All right, next, Ox Baker was another one that caught my eye, and I have no idea who this is, and maybe it's somebody to explore.
Oh wow!
But he looks awesome.
Yeah.
He has the Gary Hart look. If you remember who Gary Hart is, he's a manager from the 80s. But he has that look, and he's just these eyebrows and the mustache. What's that mustache called? Is that
Fu Manchu?
Is that a Fu Manchu?
I think that's a Fu Manchu. Because normally you would have it like come straight down. His bush is out.
I thought you had to have this thing to have a Fu Manchu. Is that not right?
Well, hold on. I got a computer.
It's gonna bring up the band.
It did. Which I do like that band. Hold on. Fu Manchu beard. Yeah, this is just showing me the handlebar, I guess, but the longer handlebar.
So he had a Fu Manchu. So, yeah, he just died in 2014, but he has a cool look to him. So
I say these pictures look more recent.
Yeah. So he was one of them that I didn't really watch, and then let me see if I have anybody else I really didn't watch.
How did you find these guys?
I just looked up scary wrestlers. The only other one I don't know is Maurice Tillet.
Maurice Tillet. But see, he looks just ugly. I remember his chin. Like I feel like he was in like oh no, he wasn't in anything. He looks like a dude that was in like a Rob Zombie movie.
Like the one dude from Hills Have Eyes?
No. There's another guy, or maybe it's one of the masks looked like him. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm looking at a picture with his chin, but he died.
He looks like somebody from Freaked.
Yeah.
And it threw me off because he's billed as only 5'9", and because in the pictures he looks like he's going to be a giant when you just see like his face and stuff, but he's small, and he had to be awkward looking.
Yeah, it looks like he has a very large head.
Yeah, and even when it says people also search for, it's the people from Freaks.
Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe he was in Freaks.
I mean, we can.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He was in something called Carnival and Flanders Shaving Scene Patron. I don't know what the hell that means.
Some have speculated that Maurice's appearance and behavior inspired the likeness of Shrek.
Yeah, I did see that. There's a couple pictures comparing him to Shrek. How would you feel about that? If like your legacy,
he
all
does
you left
kind
was
of look like Shrek.
But would I mean like just like well Brad was an inspiration for this gigantic green ogre.
I guess it's better than not being
remembered.
Yeah. So, all right. So here's the question for you. You've been a fan starting in probably I would say that '97 era.
Yeah.
Up until probably 2000, maybe, and then up until you start driving, probably.
Yeah, and like girls came into the picture.
Yeah, and then you probably got into a fandom again around 2014, 15.
It was 14. It was the thing that got me watching was the Sting, the Survivor Series 2014.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, so who are your guys when you think of as scary wrestlers? Who are your guys?
I think my favorite back then, which is funny because he actually didn't stay around and wasn't as big as the other two guys. If you think,
Gangrel.
yeah. If you think about horror and you think about things like that, the first thought is the vampire, Gangrel.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I bought what is it? I don't even know what volume it is. Volume 3 of the WWE music that had like Stone Cold, The Rock, it had DX. And I remember
I used to have some of those.
It had his music, and I remember I used to play it so loud before like a soccer game or whatever game I was playing that day. And like he came out, he raised up from the stage, and he would spit the blood everywhere. It was a cool entrance. Now here's the thing: I can't tell you one Gangrel match I remember.
That's the problem with Gangrel.
Yeah.
And the other part. So he looked awesome. He had a great look. Yeah. I think he was married to Luna Vachon too,
who was life?
Also on my list.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, could be wrong about that, or at least was for a minute.
Yeah.
He couldn't talk.
Did he talk ever?
Yes, and he wasn't great. But they probably put him on the mic a few times and were like, "Yeah, don't talk anymore."
Did Edge and Christian even talk during that time, or did he talk for him?
Not that I recall.
Okay.
I actually have a slight Gangrel story. So I was at one of the events, and our seats were right
like back in
below.
What is that, middle school? At that point,
probably middle school, maybe 9th grade.
Okay,
8th, 9th grade is where I'd put it.
Okay,
it was at the shop. It was up for a Raw, and we were at where maybe where the Buckeyes would come out for basketball, like one of those big. But we were above it. We were like at the row, the front row above that.
You could look over it.
Yeah, so Edge, Christian, and Gangrel come out, had their match, and they ended up going through the crowd. And I was screaming at him, and Gangrel looked up at me, and I was bloody all mouth, and he was like, "Gah!" And he screamed like a maniac. And it was awesome because, it's the only time a wrestler ever, actually kind of did that for me. So it was cool. Gangrel, that's my Gangrel story.
I'm gonna change the way I name these episodes. It's just gonna be I actually have a Gangrel story. So during that time too, there's Mankind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, do you consider that a horror character? The guy's insane, right?
He started off as kind of horrorish because he was a heel, but he became a babyface.
Well,
so it's hard to remember him. And his most successful run was as, a babyface. So it's kind of hard to remember him as a horror.
Because he started out like I've rewatched the promos he had with him in the boiler room, and he wouldn't come out.
Yeah.
And he was actually ripping out his own hair. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that it was a weird, dark character. But then when you think about it, it's just, and the fact that we all older now and we know who Mick Foley is, like he's a happy guy.
Yeah.
Like he's not anything like that. So I don't know.
He did, there was a Raw where he sat down with Jim Ross. I don't know if you remember this. Mm-hmm. And it was Mrs. Foley's baby boy promo that he did with Jim Ross. That kind of changed everything.
Yeah.
And kind of made him, because everybody already liked him from being Cactus Jack in WCW. He was well known there. Mm. And then he was well known in Japan. And by the time that he got there, everybody knew who he was. I don't know that people really wanted to dislike him.
Yeah.
Because his matches were exciting. So it's just one of those things.
Now, speaking of Japan, I think this happened in Japan. I don't know which tape it is, but I have all the ICP Stranglemanias. And I feel like that I didn't do any research, but at one point I feel like that there was a character just simply called Leatherface, and also there was another character called Freddy Krueger, and they might have wrestled each other at some point.
One of the videos, the one about the table not going to be there anymore, has to do with Leatherface.
The what? Okay. So what? There's actually like one of the videos you sent me is the wrestler Leatherface.
Yeah, we'll get into Leatherface later.
Okay. Yeah.
It's
did you know about the Freddy Krueger wrestler though?
Yeah, I'll tell you more about all that later.
Oh, okay. You know about all this.
It's gone through many. Yeah.
Okay. And then there's the Undertaker. Right.
So we can go to one of my videos there.
Oh, okay. Which one am I going to?
So
the Undertaker, Jake Roberts.
We can do that one first. There's two. One of them's longer than the other one. When I was younger, they had on TV, there wasn't Monday Night Raw up until, I don't know, 91 maybe?
It's like 90. I think it's 91, 92, I think. Because that's the one. The first one is the Razor Ramon thing, right? The 1, 2, 3 Kid. Is that the first one?
I believe that is the first one, or it's among the first ones at least. And Raw was different then. It was an hour. It was on Mondays at 9, I think.
And it was taped.
It was taped. It was, and sometimes they'd go in this back room and they'd have, that's where the announcers would kind of talk. Mm-hmm. And it was like Mr. Perfect, Mr. McMahon. I don't know who else was there. I remember Mr. Perfect because he always threw his pencil up and caught it. But
that had a big impact on your life too. Just like Mr. Perfect catching things, I feel like changed your life.
You know what? I used to love it, and I practiced.
Oh, I know.
Throwing up a pencil and catching it. Yeah, you're right.
The gum.
I always thought it was so cool. Yeah. That was Mr. Perfect too. You're right.
I know.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I guess I never realized that.
Oh yeah.
That's a real realization for me.
And like I remember,
model myself after Mr. Perfect.
I'd wait for you to fuck up the gum, and you never did. At least I never saw you. You might have done it in private, but I never saw you do it.
Yeah, I was pretty good at that, actually. I still am. I can still do all that shit. If I throw up like a goldfish or something like that, I usually catch it. So then Cam tries like 40 and he doesn't catch any of them.
Well, next time we're able to shoot some video, we'll just shoot you throwing things in your mouth until you miss.
But yeah, so back then on Saturday mornings they had what's called WTF Superstars. That was the big WWF show.
That's where they told the stories,
have
right?
That's where they told the stories. Rarely would you see Hogan. They had like every once in a while they'd have like a Saturday night main event, and that was bigger, and that was kind of cool. But back then it was 11 a.m. Saturday mornings. So this is where this happened. And I remember this one with Jake Roberts, and Jake Roberts was kind of a scary dude too. In a way,
he talked
like
low,
he
right?
was, he always talked real low. And he had a snake.
Plus, he had a fucking snake, man.
Yeah, it was a huge python. I mean, enormous, and it would bite people. Yeah. That was part of the gimmick. And Randy Savage, I guess he was going to get bit one. He's like, I don't know about this. He didn't care for that idea. But so if you fast forward this video,
okay,
if it'll let you. Till about let's just do about. I'm at 520.
520.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the title of the video is Undertaker plus Jake Roberts. Undertaker plus Jake has no spaces, and then it's Roberts at Funeral Parlor.
All
so
right. Can I hit play?
Yeah. So and you could just.
Whoa. So what?
So every Saturday morning for a while, as they were building the Undertaker character, at the stage where the wrestlers came out, they would have the Funeral Parlor set up there, and with Paul Bearer as the host, and then somebody would usually come out and Undertaker will fuck with him. So at this one, Jake beats him with a chair over and over again, and at one point you can see his hand is stuck in the casket.
Yeah, I see it right now.
And he soon starts to drag the casket with him, and like nothing could stop this guy. And I was literally scared of the Undertaker at first.
Well, this is completely than what we see, or completely different than what we see now. Like he's got like this weird, like green, like he looks dead. Yeah,
he looks more dead. He has these weird gray gloves, and it's just the whole gimmick. So you can continue to fast forward here to around 6:43.
Wait, hold on.
You can really see that he's.
Did that scare you? Him dragging the casket?
Yes, it's like he was unstoppable.
Okay.
And it did. And the first video probably scared me more that we could watch on Undertaker. And we can take a look at that one, too.
All right, I'm at 643. There's another chair shot. He's still stuck in the casket.
Yeah, he's just dragging it slowly.
I wonder how they did that.
And he just keeps getting beaten.
Is he just holding it?
It's certainly not a real casket.
Yeah.
It's way too light. But he just keeps coming and coming and coming. And yeah, that scared the hell out of me because he just couldn't be stopped.
Yeah. No, I can see it.
So go to the next Undertaker video.
Which one? The funeral parlor superstars?
Yes. So
Okay.
this goes on for far too long.
Okay.
This is an 11-minute video, as you can see.
Yeah.
So if you scrub it to 5 minutes, you can see, first of all, Paul Bearer being awesome. And just his look and everything, like he's not okay. I mean, he had such a great look.
He just gave him the urn. Urn went to the back of the head of Warrior. I love Vince's commentary.
Vince is great. Mm-hmm. One of the best.
And he's throwing him in the casket. And Warrior was one of your favorites, right?
Exactly. He was my favorite at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And he puts him in the casket. As you can see, he has to beat him down. So scrub it a little bit, and he's stuck in there.
Yeah.
And the announcers, I forget, I think it's Macho.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it is Macho. I can hear him on yours.
Yeah.
He's in there too long. You know, he's starting to get upset. Vince is out there trying to get it open. Is that Vince? No, that's
hold on.
What's his name? Is that Brutus? Or not Brutus, but
Patterson?
The guy that does the Bischoff podcast. Oh no,
he's been in there 45 seconds so far.
Yeah. So if you scrub it more, they still just cannot get this thing open. They're getting drills out.
There's a new guy.
Yep. Oh, he looks like Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah. Yep. They have like a chisel.
They have a hammer. They're just like hitting the hammer out of the casket.
They cannot get Warrior out of this casket.
No. And they finally get it open.
They have a drill.
And he looks dead.
Hold on. Okay, so the drill's...
And he's sweating profusely.
Okay, they're popping it open. Hold on. They all just open it. It took 5 guys to do it.
And they start doing chest compressions on Ultimate Warrior.
I mean, he's not breathing.
I am on the edge of my fucking seat here, thinking Ultimate Warrior's dead. And I mean, this is 11 a.m. on a Saturday, and you're not going to know what happened. There was no internet.
Until next Saturday.
You know what I mean? Yes.
Okay,
did Ultimate Warrior die?
They're giving him the chest things.
They're giving him mouth to mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, it's...
Does he come back? Now you got me going, man. Hold on.
He starts coughing a little bit, but you still just aren't sure.
Yeah, he's coughing.
It doesn't look good, though. It doesn't look good for the Ultimate Warrior.
So that got you. I mean, that is... How old are you? 91?
7? Yeah, so I'm 7.
Yeah. So, yeah, a 7-year-old kid watching his favorite just maybe get murdered.
Yes, on live TV. What I thought was live TV, it's probably not.
Yeah.
Because who goes to the live, at 8 a.m.? But yes, I was scared out of my mind.
Yeah.
And I did. I thought Ultimate Warrior was dead. So Undertaker used to be frightening as hell.
Okay.
Not still. But go on. Who are your other ones? So those are my 2 Undertaker.
What else
I meant Undertaker.
Oh, I did have a question for you.
Okay.
And we'll get back to another one. But do you consider Crow Sting a horror character?
I was going to ask that myself, but I think that when you have it be a good guy or babyface, whatever you want to call him, I just don't know that it can be scary.
Yeah, because he was never looked at as a bad guy.
Yeah, not really. In the Crow movie, even do you really consider Eric or the Crow or whatever you want to call him is that a horror movie? However, in the horror lines of NECA figures, the Crow is often in them.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, maybe because he's scared. Because isn't the Crow actually doing something good or getting revenge, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, is that even a bad... you don't consider Beatrix from Kill Bill a bad person?
No.
Even though she's murdering people.
Right. But he is kind of a horror icon-ish.
Yeah. I think it's the look, right? It's the paint. He is... If you saw him in a dark alley, you'd be scared.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess you're right. I wouldn't consider Sting a horror character. But we can jump back now to... It's Kane! Oh my God! It's Kane!
By God!
That's the Undertaker's brother! Now, see, here's the problem. Is that they pushed that story so hard. And I remember actually watching this and being excited. It was... It's not Beware a Dog, is it? The In Your House?
Oh, I don't know.
It's the match between Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
In a cage, right?
Yeah, it's a cage match. But I remember being like so into it and just being like, because they pushed it for like weeks. I feel like he has a brother, and like Paul Bearer is pissed off enough to go get his brother, and you thought he died, and like what did Undertaker do? Like he died in a fire, and like he didn't save him or something.
That's what the original thing was. I remember going off of Raw one day. He had Paul Bearer in a chokehold. Kane hadn't come out yet and didn't come out this night. But he just kept saying, "The fire!
Yeah.
The fire!" And then Undertaker stopped choking him, and then it went off the air. And you were like, okay. What fire? What happened?
So maybe that's all it was.
I was like 14 at this point. I was like, holy shit, there was a fire?
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I was old enough to know that this stuff was scripted, but I still wanted to know about this fire and who died. And then when he came out, he was so, like, you could tell that Undertaker was just stricken with disbelief. He couldn't even believe that his brother was back. And it's kind of ridiculous now because of Kane's been around for so long that's how it started, but it started in a really fucked up way.
And he's like the mayor of Knoxville now too, so it really takes away from the like all scariness.
I mean, I will say that getting back into it in 2014, 15, whatever, I am a big fan of Corporate Kane. I still like.
I like Corporate Kane too.
Smiling with the coffee cup.
Yeah, he was funny.
But yeah, so originally, I mean, and he wore this sweet looking mask because he had to hide his face because it was burnt from the fire.
Yeah, it was burnt.
Yeah, for some reason he had hair, but it still all looked good.
It did. Yeah, Kane was. He was scary for a minute, and then not so much.
Yeah.
He was huge, yeah. But yeah, the build-up to Kane was just as good as everything else that Kane ever did. Yeah. Paul Bearer was so good at all that.
Yeah.
All right, who else you
got? Moving forward? Well, actually...
How about now?
Now, yeah, we can talk about two. This could be two people because it's kind of a rehash of an older character, but the original, I guess the NXT to now, the Bray Wyatt.
Yeah.
Like more the cult leader before
Wyatt family.
Yeah, and I have always been, and I've talked to my wife about this. Because these are the type of conversations we have. That I have actually been into his story more than anybody else. Now, you can say what you want about his promos. I think that they're done great. Most of the time, you don't know what the hell he's talking about. And
they've gotten better.
Yeah, they've gotten better. And most of the time he loses is his problem. But his story is just like, if you go back to the NXT stuff, he talks about like how he had to murder his own father. And like he's part of this backwoods swamp, just like cult, and he's doing it. Like I want to know who the fuck Sister Abigail is, and like she died in a fire now, and now she can talk to him, and he hears voices, and I fucking love it. And he's able to mind control people. He got Daniel Bryan at some point. Like I don't know.
He's just so smooth on the mic.
Yeah, and
like he's fucking cool.
Yeah,
and he's like weird at the same time, which is hard.
Yeah, I mean, even in these last, right now during the whole coronavirus thing, they've had to play to a crowd. They've had to play to no crowd, and it's completely silent in that performance center. And these promos, like Seth just cut one on Monday that I thought was great. Like the way they're shooting the promos are so much more dramatic, and he cut one against Cena that I fucking loved. And it's just him and John Cena in the ring with no one else watching.
Huh.
And like I thought it was fantastic, but now he has like they did some goofy stuff with him turning into Sister Abigail for a second, and like the Randy Orton stuff, and then he went away after he was the leader of Worlds with Matt Hardy. But now he's come back as fucking even better. Now he's a kid TV show host, like a Mr. Rogers type character that has like a demon
side. I think of it more as Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Oh, yeah. I guess so, yeah. Just some type of children's host that you didn't know where it was going when it first happened. Like, you just saw him and he was super happy. And then by the
when he came
episode,
out when he came out to fight, I think it was Daniel Bryan. He was like, I don't know if it was Daniel Bryan or somebody. And he came out just as Bray Wyatt, and he wasn't
yeah, that was.
And he was like, I'm really excited about this. And he went to announcers and said that, and then just so happy. He was just, I don't know. It was
great.
Yeah,
I think Daniel was his first match as like Bray.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, but usually he comes out as the Fiend now, like a demon character with a mask, and it's had some mixed responses. I still don't know how I feel about it, just because they've changed it so much now, like match to match. Like,
yeah, they haven't figured. The biggest misstep they made was Seth Rollins' match in the cage. They made him unbeatable, and because Seth Rollins did like 15 curb stomps on him, but curb stomp beat Brock at SummerSlam, and it was just like. It just didn't make sense.
Yeah. And then it got toned down with Daniel, and then or the Miz, I guess. The Miz was first, and then Daniel, and then now he's just kind of having normal matches. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it's a really once again, I usually watch wrestling for the stories, anyways. The matches I do enjoy, but to make me care about them, I think one of the greatest stories ever is all the beginning to right now of Gargano and Ciampa, and those matches are still going to be good, but they're not going to be as good without that story. So I still do like matches, but the story is what it is for me. And Bray Wyatt always has a great story. It just, I don't know if it's him or how they just what they tell him to do, but it just never really follows up on the match, I guess.
I agree. Let's see here. I'm seeing if there's any more new guys.
And what I want to talk about that, I know you just said new guys, but he actually, I feel like he pulled a lot of his look and gimmick off of, was it Waylon Jennings? Is that right?
The country superstar?
See, that sounds like a country superstar. I feel like I said it wrong. Waylon what? What's his name? Waylon Mercy.
I don't know who you're referring.
Waylon Mercy. He was a dude. Come on. Yeah, I think he was, I want to say during the 90s, maybe late 80s. He would come out in the Hawaiian shirts. He had the long black hair with the cross in the middle of his forehead. And he kind of had the same attitude as Bray. And from what I know, he's given Bray tips on how to work his character.
Stan Spivey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's real. Yeah, I think the character is Waylon.
Dangerous Stan.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dan Spivey was a big wrestler in the late 80s, early 90s was his heyday. I think of him as Dan Spivey, I guess, still. I don't barely remember him as Waylon Mercy. Okay. I guess he fought Diesel, huh?
Yeah, and I remember seeing him because I remember as a kid, because my brothers did watch it. I never watched it when I was younger, but I remember seeing him and seeing the cross and thought that was really, not scary. I just was who would, that's not normal. That's not a normal thing that people do. So for some reason, I did remember him.
I think of him as a little bit of Skinner from the early 90s. I don't know if you remember Skinner, but he was a Louisiana alligator swamp guy in the early 90s.
Okay.
And his promos always took place in a swamp. He was literally in a fucking swamp.
Yeah.
And he would be up to his neck. And he would just give these weird promos.
It sounds amazing in theory.
Yeah. I mean, he actually trained a lot of guys at an FCW. I think he owned FCW.
Okay.
He didn't. Maybe I don't know what he did. He was somebody in FCW. But yeah, he was Skinner. He was a few different guys. But Skinner is what I know him from.
Okay.
Anyways, a few more guys from nowish. Let me see if I have anybody.
Are we considering
Dark Order?
Yeah.
We'll see how they go.
I mean, I did see what was going on. Is there anything new with all the people that showed up in AEW? Is
I didn't watch last week.
Okay.
Or this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, then I won't say anything.
I watched last week.
Okay. I still haven't.
I know.
You know who showed up?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you consider Finn?
No.
No. Okay.
Again, the babyface thing.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, while you think of older or newer wrestlers, can we talk about your personal favorite wrestler other than Sting and Ultimate Warrior?
Macho Man?
No. You know who I'm talking about.
Are you talking about Papa Shango?
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's another one
Papa
that went
Shango's
after your
the
boy,
first
man. Didn't he make?
He was the first one on my list.
He was.
That's one of the videos I sent you.
Oh,
so
you did? I've seen that video.
You're gonna have to
do what? Sorry.
Play it to remind yourself.
Which one is it?
Because I actually have a story about it. Did I not send that one to you?
Hold on. Oh, it's more emails came in between when you sent that and the other ones.
Okay.
All right. So what do I have to do here?
Hold on. I'm trying to find it myself. It's the one that it's 2 minutes 32 seconds long.
Oh no, the one I have is 131.
Oh, I have it at 2:32. Hold on. Okay, 1:32.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and play that now.
Just play the whole thing.
Yep. So Warrior he's celebrating, and Papa Shango starts getting stomach pains.
Oh yeah.
Terrible stomach pains. He said, and Papa Shango's just sitting there, like looking like, honestly, half mentally ill, really. And he's just kind of in the entryway, and he's just kind of doing a weird dance, and he's dressed like a voodoo man, and it looks cool.
Yeah, he does.
I mean, he's kind of like the Day of the Dead looking guy.
I mean, he put a lot into it. He's got the hat. He's got like skulls around his neck.
Yeah, but the problem was with Papa Shango is once he took all that shit off and wrestled, he didn't look as cool.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So and he's just like right above him now, and he's like doing all this weird dance.
He's doing the convulsing.
And Warrior's just in so much pain. He never touches him. So you can scrub a little bit, and he's in the back, and he vomits this yellow vomit all over like everybody.
All right. All the guys that help him get out of the casket are now helping him right now.
Yes, they
are. There it is.
Same dudes.
There's the yellow, and the guy kind of dressed like a doctor.
This was another WTF Superstars. So this is 11 a.m. on a Saturday. Yeah. This ruined my fucking day. This ruined my weekend. First of all, I love Ultimate Warrior, right?
Mm.
Second of all, you know this. I hate puke.
Yeah.
I don't like to puke. It really upset me that Papa Shango made Ultimate Warrior puke. I remember to this day, I had to leave right around the time that Papa Shango made Ultimate Warrior puke. I don't think I got to finish Superstars. I had to leave because my brother had a basketball game that we had to go to. Mm. I remember sitting in the car with my stomach in rows, like just
upset about that.
So upset about it. Like I was beside myself about it the entire day. I remember the whole day being upset about it. Like it's seriously still to this day when I watch it, I'm still like, that fucking puke looks awful.
Yeah.
And the fact that he puked on everybody else, it was just so, I hated it.
So you were actually not a Papa Shango fan?
No, he scared the shit out of me. And he was gone quick. He did not stick around.
Yeah, he didn't stick around. He made it to a WrestleMania. Like, didn't he fuck up one of the WrestleManias, like 9 or something?
He was part of the Mania, maybe. Or it was either Mania or
it was the one where Hogan came
Warrior
out.
Return.
Well, what about the one where Brett beat Yokozuna and then Hogan came out? Wasn't he part of that?
When Brett beat Yokozuna, Owen Hart comes out at WrestleMania 10.
Oh, what the hell am I thinking of?
Because Owen beat Brett earlier in the night.
What was 9?
My brother.
What was WrestleMania 9?
Ooh,
That's the one in Vegas.
I'd have to look.
Okay, sorry. Well,
WrestleMania 10 is actually one of my favorites.
Okay. Well, see, and like I thought about that too because that was one of the first tapes that I rented to like once I started watching wrestling, I was like I need to like find out about stuff, and then you find out that Scott Hall was actually over here and that person's there, and the first thing I rented was 10 just to watch the ladder match. So, but I didn't watch the rest of it, so I have no idea, what my favorites would be. So yeah, I can't. I mean, I think we went through a lot of them.
All right,
the Dungeon of Doom.
More. The Dungeon of Doom.
Isn't that what they were? Yeah. That was Kevin Sullivan's thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I have Kevin Sullivan on my list.
With Shark.
Shark Boy?
No, wasn't his name Shark? What's his name? Tornado.
Kevin Sullivan was the Taskmaster.
No, he was the Taskmaster. But the dude that was it King Kong Bundy? Oh no, Tugboat. Tugboat turned into like Shark.
Oh
What, didn't he?
Yeah. God, I don't. Was it just Shark? It seems like that's not right, but maybe it was just Shark.
And then Giant was in there for a second.
Yeah, Giant was in there. They also had this big old like Yeti guy for 1 week, and then he was gone. Like he was a big fucking deal, and then he never really. It was like he came out, and then they were like, "Nah, just go back."
Dude,
why
do you have Kevin Sullivan?
Because Kevin Sullivan was always weird.
Just a weird guy.
He was always a demonic dude, and he had Nancy Benoit was his wife at that point in like the 80s, and she would be like his weird mistress of the dark kind of Elvira type chick. And he was always like satanic, and like that was his kind of his gimmick, was that he was this Satanist type guy. Only problem about Kevin Sullivan was, and it's really funny because when I've seen him talk on like shoot interviews and stuff, he looks super tough, and like I wouldn't want to mess with him. But in the ring, he never intimidated me.
He never did anything.
No, because he was so small compared to the other guys, and kind of like rotund.
He was,
and like
he looked like an oaf. I guess is the best way to explain it.
But in real life, he literally intimidates me.
Yeah.
Like if I was sitting here talking to him, I certainly wouldn't be saying this.
No, not at all. That's why you saw me. That's why you saw me pause before I said oaf. But then I realized he's never going to listen to this.
Well, yeah, but no, I like Kevin Sullivan. I'm just saying, it's just as far as scaring me, he just never scared me. But his character was certainly meant to be something along those lines. All right, a few other people I have here. Big Van Vader was certainly meant to be.
You think so?
Different, kind of scary.
Why? Because the mask.
The mask. I mean, he was a different guy. Anybody that looked different back then and actually stayed a bad guy.
Yeah.
That whole WCW run. I mean, he was always fighting Sting, so maybe I don't know if he scared me, but I was always afraid that he was going to kill Sting.
Well, if you listen to some of Sting's interviews, I think Sting was too.
Yeah, he's known for being a little tight.
Yeah.
So Psycho Sid was another one that was supposed to be kind of scary. But at first he was Sid Vicious in WCW. Then he was Sid Justice, and he was the babyface.
Yeah.
And then he was Psycho Sid later. But no matter what, I always loved him. Like when I was a kid, and now when you look back at him, he's the funniest because he's terrible at everything. Yeah, he's got a great look and nothing else.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Like going back, like didn't he main event a WrestleMania?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, and then he was a huge guy, but yeah, as you got older, it's kind of like the Warrior thing where I'm sure you loved him and didn't see anything wrong, and now you're just like, you hear everybody talk about him and you're like, oh, never mind.
Yeah, and you watch his promos and you're like, holy shit, he's not talking about him.
His promos are probably like, his promos can always cheer you up.
They're amongst my favorite, actually. Like, just because they're so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Vampiro was another one that was supposed to be kind of...
I was going to bring that up, yeah.
He never did it for me, though.
No, I mean, he just...
And he's I don't know if you've heard him on podcasts, he's a douchebag.
He seems... I mean, if you watch the Lucha Underground stuff, you can kind of pick up on that.
Whatever. Maybe he's a great guy. What do I know? Another guy that scared me, you're going to have to look him up, because I doubt that you remember him. He had a very short run. His name was Nails.
Yeah. Well, I know of him.
You remember Nails?
Well, I don't remember him. I know him of all the stories now because he's like the only guy to like try to go after Vince or whatever.
Okay. So Nails was kind of like Razor Ramon, where the lead up of promos was amazing. He was always in this red jumpsuit. He was tall, big old dude. And I used to, when I was growing up, I had all these woods behind me. We had like a state park behind us. So there's a lot of woods. I swear to God, I used to go and think that I was going to see him walking through my woods in a red jumpsuit. I swear to God, I did.
I was a little
bit nervous about Nails. He was an escaped convict.
Okay, that's why he wore the jumpsuit.
Yeah, and he was coming off the Big Boss Man, who had put them there. He felt like had put him there unjustly.
Okay.
So
why were you so? Hold on. Why were you so scared of Nails?
I don't know. I don't have a good reason. And if you look at him, he looks. I don't know. Like he doesn't look well.
No.
Like he's not particular. Like he's kind of oafish looking. Like he's kind of stupid looking. But I thought this was a bad guy. And he's out on the loose. He's not supposed to be, because I thought this shit was real. So I was like, he could be out in those woods hiding until his match with a Boss Man. That was my thought.
I mean, it's not the craziest thought.
I used to literally look out the woods and just to scan it for the red jumpsuit, especially if I was out there by myself.
Hey,
the first thing I did was scan for nails.
Hey, back to the beginning of the podcast, man. Like it's better safe than sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It was my nails check.
Hey, and you know what? I do that to this day. I'm not looking for nails, but every time I go upstairs, I look outside just to see if there's anybody out there. So,
yeah, sitting there looking back at you.
Yeah.
The one that I'm surprised that you did not mention that is one of the best ones ever is Doink the Clown.
But I'm not scared of clowns. I don't consider that horror.
Dude, when the first guy who played him, his name was Matt Bourne, because he became other Doinks. There was other Doinks after him. But when it was Matt Bourne, if you watch those, he was like odd. It was like Pennywise-ish. It was or something along those lines. He played it as a fucked up dude. And if you go back and watch him, it was scary.
Okay.
But I was never real scared of him either. But now, going back and watching his stuff, I love it. I love how demented he looks and how strange he goes for it. Like, he went for it, and he was awesome at it. Okay. And everybody after him wasn't as good.
Okay. I mean, I don't remember Doink being ever really... I don't think I ever had a reaction to him.
Yeah, I mean, he never got out of middle card, but he was great when he was, like... especially going back now, being such a horror fan. I wasn't a horror fan then, so he's probably in my top 5 of horror characters.
Okay,
because of how good he did it, and you never got tired of him because he kind of stayed there for a while. But if you just look at the Matt Bourne run, like it was always great. It never became Kane, where it's like, oh, he's the mayor of Knox County now, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like it just never got there.
Yeah.
Let me see here. I think we got everybody on that list. And okay, I got 2 more big ones. 3 more big ones.
Okay.
Here's the other bad one. The Repo Man. Do you remember the Repo Man?
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I'd count him.
I thought this motherfucker was going to come in my house and steal some shit. No,
so now, yeah,
I did.
Now we're just talking about Brad's childhood.
He was so sneaky coming out of the ring.
He looked like a cartoon bandit. Like, they put the black thing on him, and he would just. It was like the dude. It was like Swiper. Like, that's what he looks like. A Swiper from Dora.
Yes, he was. It was like Swiper, no swiping. But he fucking freaked me out. I think I was just at the right age that I was like, this dude's bad news.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
I don't know. It's just.
Maybe it taught you a lesson. Maybe you didn't even know. You knew that was bad to go swiping things.
I
just did. Like that. There's like 10-year-old Brad looking in the back, scanning for nails, looking in the front, scanning for Repo Man. Like, and your parents let you watch this stuff.
You know what the weirdest part is I never even realized the Repo Man was one of the guys that was in Demolition.
Yeah.
He was either Axe or Smash. I don't know which one he was.
Yeah, I think that I've watched stuff about him where they felt bad for him because he was a good talent. It's just anything. It's kind of like Papa Shango. Anything that they gave him, it just never really worked. Well, I mean, The Godfather worked, I guess, eventually.
Demolition worked. I mean, Demolition
is
certainly a big tag team.
But I think that his like when that broke up, like they didn't know what to do with him, and that's how that happened, I think.
Yeah. All right, 2 of the ones that I might put in the top 5 as well haven't been named yet. Any ideas? Okay.
And see, this is. I mean, this could be.
I'll hold on. I'll give you years. Okay. One is certainly the most well known as far as television would be late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm. Is the other one the Boogeyman?
And then the other one's the Boogeyman.
Okay. I was just like, I know there's one like during that like dark time during the Ruthless Aggression stuff, because that's when I didn't watch other than randomly with you and Jake. But like,
yeah, that's when I watched. But when I saw Boogeyman, I was always intrigued.
Yeah.
Because he ate worms.
And it's so that's one going back and watching those WrestleManias. He had that match with Booker T, and like that motherfucker had to have those worms in his mouth at some point because he spit it all over Booker T.
Mm-hmm.
Or oh shit, I can't think of Booker T's wife. Was it Queen Charmaine? Queen Charmaine?
Yeah, Queen Charmaine. Yeah.
He spit them over like both of them. I think like those worms came from somewhere, and from what I know, those were real worms too. So that is terrifying, and I do like that.
Yeah, they looked real worms, and he was painted up. He was painted up awesome, and he looked great, and he never went out of character.
Yeah, and they bring him back like every October most of the time too on Raw or something.
It's funny because Stone Cold was talking a couple years ago that he watched WrestleMania at a bar with Boogie. That's what he calls him, and he I love that guy. Like I don't know, it's really funny that he's just sitting there watching WrestleMania with Boogeyman.
With Boogeyman,
yeah. So certainly in my top 5. Oh, go ahead.
No, I didn't know if we were transitioning yet to the other one.
Yeah, so certainly in my top 5, late 80s, early 90s, but I think he was active before that. But he probably would have been in a territory at that point. So
Abdullah the Butcher?
Seeing him, Abdullah the Butcher. Yep. Yeah.
I was trying to think, isn't he the one that got shocked in the electric chair match or whatever?
Yes, and I remember seeing pictures of that in my wrestling magazines. Like, well, shit, Abdullah got shot.
That is a horrifying image, though. Like that still of him. Like you see the sparks
blood
flying
dripping
out.
Down.
Yeah.
And Abdullah was. He lived his gimmick always. It seemed like it was really weird and unsettling. There was something unsettling about him as a kid.
I think whenever you saw him too, like it's like Dusty. Like he has all those fucking cuts on his head.
Yeah, in his head. Yeah, exactly.
So it's like something happened. Like he's went through some shit because other wrestlers, Ric Flair probably cut his fucking scalp off at one point. You never see him on Ric Flair.
I'd have to look that up to make sure I'm right. But I always thought the Sudan was a real fucked up place when I was a kid. Like the place where there was a whole bunch of butchers walking around.
Is that scarier than having nails in your backyard? Just a place of butchers?
Yes. Hold on. Yeah, it seemed like a bad place that was just bloody and just. Let me see here. Is he from the Sudan? Is this guy still alive? Oh Jesus, he looks weird now. Still.
Is he still alive?
Yeah, he's 79 years old and still alive.
Yeah.
How about that? God, is he from this? Yeah, he's from the Sudan. I thought the Sudan was a terrible, terrible place. Like, I thought it was the kind of place that, like, it would be like the seventh ring of hell would be Sudan. The place that if you did things wrong, they would just put you in a room and that spins for a day.
What do you think a bunch of butchers look like walking around? Like, did this dude's like big dudes with face paint and knives just walking around ready, like for any suspecting person?
I just thought everybody looked like Abdullah.
Just waiting for people to walk in and get murdered.
And then if a little white boy came walking down the street, they'd kill you.
They butcher you.
They'd butcher you. Yeah, they kill you and eat you. That's what I thought the Sudan was.
Okay.
Wrestling is a thing.
I'm starting to realize that wrestling fucked you up at some point.
Well, it didn't for a long term, but there were times where I was like, man, nails might be in the backyard.
It sounds like you couldn't eat
Repo Man's coming.
Yeah, it sounds like you didn't eat for a day because Papa Shango put a curse on a warrior. I
probably didn't eat for a couple hours.
Yeah.
I don't remember being at that basketball game, but I just remember being in the car and my stomach was so upset like that. I thought I was going to puke.
Yeah.
I was like, man, I wonder if Papa Shango's curse can carry over the TV. Like, it was very unsettling.
This is making me happy. I did see that you sent one more video.
I did send one more video, and this is you might have to fast forward some of this. A lot of these videos are so long, unfortunately, and they don't get straight to the point always.
So this is back to Leatherface. Is that a young Jerry Lawler?
Yes. So, and Lawler is the reason for a lot of this. In Memphis wrestling back in the day, obviously Lawler was king.
Yeah.
Still is to this day in Memphis. And he's a big, huge horror fan. And he had a bunch of masks. So there's like Frankenstein wrestlers. There's all kinds of wrestlers. If you go and you do Memphis wrestling or USWA or whatever you want to do, and Jerry Lawler and Frankenstein or whoever, there's all kinds of great 70s and 80s horror wrestling matches. And Leatherface has been around for years. Even Terry Funk was a Leatherface type guy. Okay. I think he was named Chainsaw Charlie for a while in WWF.
Yeah.
So yeah, that all comes a lot, I think, from Jerry Lawler. I'm sure it's happened a little bit before that, but I credit it to Lawler. And he had this great Halloween podcast a few years ago. Unfortunately, the podcast has been taken down because the guy that he did the podcast with screwed him over some money. And so they stopped doing the podcast, took everything down. But this Halloween episode was awesome because they talked about a whole bunch of the different things that they had done, and so you got to kind of go through it with them, and you could watch it on on YouTube. And I was like, "This is awesome!" Like, and it was all these great stories and all these like really freaky ways to like see how these things happen. So yeah, the Leatherface one there, I just like it because it's not just in a match; he just actually comes out and just freaks out.
He does, yeah. I mean,
and Lawler's there.
Yeah, they were just sitting at the desk having a conversation, and then he's out of nowhere just surprises everybody.
Yeah, and you can see the Jerry Lawler matches with Leatherface and stuff like that.
He's cutting the announcing desk now. He's cutting the desk.
So yeah, but there's a lot of Texas Chainsaw, or I'm sorry, Leatherface wrestlers, especially in Japan. But there's tons to watch on there if you want to. But the USWA or the Memphis stuff is the best.
Okay. I had no idea.
There's tons of it.
I just knew that at one point I was watching one of those tapes, when I bought them back in the 2000 or whatever, and just realizing like, why the hell is there Freddy Krueger? Like, this is a real thing. They got away with Freddy Krueger versus Leatherface.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy. But yeah, I guess they literally used Jerry Lawler's masks. They were his masks from home.
I don't know if I could do that. I don't want some dude sweating in my stuff.
Yeah, back then, I mean, coronavirus wasn't around, so they just didn't care. Anybody's game. They had blood all over each other.
That's the one thing I couldn't take, man, being a wrestler. Like, well, there's two things. If I decided I was like, I want to do this and I want to be a wrestler, I couldn't do a ladder match because it just seems so fucking dangerous to me.
Yeah.
And two, I don't want other people's like blood on me. That's just fucking weird.
Yeah, me neither.
Not a fan.
I kind of agree with that. Yeah.
So, are you excited about WrestleMania this year?
I am, but mostly because it's on Saturday and Sunday, so I get 2 days of it, and I probably won't have to go to work Monday.
Yeah.
I'll be working from home, so it's kind of fun. Throw down a few beers while I watch it, and that's cool, and not really worry about
waking
the next morning. Yeah.
It's the event too big for one night, you know?
I think it's going to suck, if I'm being honest.
Well, now that I'm watching it, like, they're just throwing, like, why am I getting Aleister Black versus Bobby Lashley?
I don't know.
Why am I getting the Street Profits versus, like, I don't even know who the fuck they're wrestling at this point. Like, the matches are, like, they're starting to throw stuff together just because they have to.
So I stopped watching after WWE, after the first Raw that was televised with no people, after the Stone Cold came. Yeah. And Stone Cold tried to do a little skit with Byron.
Yeah.
And I literally turned Stone Cold off, and I said, I cannot watch this. That sounds really dramatic, but I just didn't want to watch Stone Cold do it. Like, he went to all four corners and played to the crowd, and it was so bad, and it was just so rehearsed. He even had notes with him. Yeah. And I just hated it, and I was just like, you know what? I just don't want to see Stone Cold do this. Yeah. So I turned it off, and I haven't been back. And then I thought the AEW show was awesome. Mm-hmm. I thought the Cody promo that he cut out came out. You haven't watched that?
Yeah. But, are you talking about like their empty arena show?
Yeah, it was the first one I did. Was last week when Harper and Hardy came out. But Cody came out and cut a promo, and it was with the times, and it was just really well done. And I was like, this is how you do it, not that way. Yeah. And I just haven't been back to WWE since. I need to, because it's coming. It's like next fucking weekend. Yeah.
Though, I mean, also, I don't know if you're like last night they replayed the Cena Rollins Lesnar match from the Royal Rumble.
At least it's good.
Yeah, I mean, they gave you that, and they gave you Asuka versus Charlotte, but a lot of it are replays anyway. So they're just kind of, I think they're just limping and they're trying not to put any money into it, which I understand.
Yeah,
but it's like I said, my eyes are gonna be on it for both nights because I am interested to see if they get creative with trying to present anything new or entertaining just because there's nothing there.
Right.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, hey, I'm I didn't know if we would get enough out of this, but I think we've been talking for like over an hour. So.
An hour 15.
Damn.
Yeah.
I thought it'd be like 30 minutes. I was like, man, this list isn't big enough. That's why I went with the old guys like Tor Johnson. I was like, I don't know if we're gonna have enough to talk about with Kevin Sullivan, and but we ended up having plenty apparently.
Yeah. All right.
Well, cool. Well, next one, I don't know what it'll be.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that more, I guess. We've had a few ideas we've thrown off each other, but
yeah, just because this whole virus, you never know what's coming next. We could be released of quarantine tomorrow. This could go on for a fucking year. Who knows?
Yeah, I literally don't know what to expect anymore at this point. That's for sure.
All right. Well,
cool. All right.
Until next time.
Enjoy WrestleMania.
Yeah, go watch Wrestlemania.
Grant and Brad's Ghastly Gal.
This is